And here is what Nick Fuentes had to say in response to what Adam Sosnick had to say about him.
About all the behaviors that you can get away with in the club. You can open carry in Miami. Okay, that's what the city is known for, is gangsters, drugs, cocaine, weed, escorts, OnlyFans. Think about the behaviors that are tolerated. Miami is the mecca of OnlyFans. If you turn 18 as a young girl, high school age girl, you're a senior, and you decide, I'm going to sell my body on the internet for money, you go to Miami.
He's right. Now, as somebody who lived in South Florida for a decade, I can tell you that Miami, South Florida in general, that's where that stuff happens. When I lived in the neighborhood that I lived in Delray Beach, there were multiple people in the neighborhood who were doing things like that. For whatever reason, in South Florida, this type of degenerate behavior was very common. And there was no question in terms of who was facilitating it, as Fuentes is going to explain.
Where there's a 0% income tax, you work from home, you could be a digital nomad, that's what you do. That's fine. You're a whore, you wanna hang with the rich and influential, you wanna hang with powerful people, you go to the Miami club, you offer up your body. People in the club are doing blow, they're doing weed, they're doing everything you can think of. That's fine. You walk up and down in Miami Beach, they got the inclusivity flag, you know, that like gay pride flag on steroids. All that stuff is fine. That's the country we live in. But again, you put on a song that says Heil Hitler and everybody loses their minds. Now, what are we to conclude about the country other than that this country is run by Jews? This city is run by Jewish gangsters. And what actually are their values? You know, I see Adam Sosnick on PBD losing his mind about this, freaking out. And it's like, dude, you sound like a woke leftist piece of shit when you talk about this issue. And I think about this guy, Adam. He takes so much pride in he's this guy from the club. Oh, I know the best clubs. He's like a proud degenerate. And
he's right. Adam Sosnick is a proud degenerate who happens to make a lot of money doing a lot of very shady stuff in South Florida. But this is where I want to be very clear about why Fuentes is such a big deal and why he's going to continue to be one, even though I suspect he's a Fed. He is speaking to a lot of hurt young men in particular, either because they can't get a date, either because they can't get laid, or they cannot succeed economically. And there is a rage that people have at the world right now, and he's using it as a weapon. I don't trust Nick. I think Nick's pretty dangerous, but you have to be able to see why it's working. Because the one thing that I try to point out constantly about why people are making this all about a Jewish problem and not a Zionist problem is because the Zionist Jews, like Adam Sosnick, make it a Jewish problem, and they do it on purpose. For what purpose? For money and power, and nothing more.
Claims to be an anti-woke right-winger. He's got a big problem with Muslims, big problem with leftists, big problem with black crime, big problem with black people. He offends Muslims on the daily, offends blacks on the daily, offends me as a Christian, Christians on the daily. When this edgy, edgelord troll song comes on, he sounds like a screeching leftist. Why didn't you get up and leave? You are the company you keep. If you sit at a table with one racist, everyone at the table is a racist anti-Semite. Seriously, bro?
You can understand why people are tired of the pro-Israel shtick and how they're going to continue to crash out. But this is also one of the reasons why he's growing. And I'm not going to put it up now, but I saw what Gezin just posted in the super chat. Nick is an incel whisperer. That's who he appeals to more than anybody else. And so if you want people to rage, they're going to rage because of what Nick is saying, because unfortunately, Nick is right about a lot of these problems. We've often said you can have the right message and be the wrong messenger. I always pointed out that RFK was right about the food additives and private equity. He was wrong about a lot of other things, but he was right about those two key issues. And so the argument could be made, especially for a Zionist like him, I'm sure there's a lot more to it than what's on the surface, that particular issue with RFK being a big messenger for food health and economic prosperity for the masses. Right message, wrong messenger. And in the same case with Nick, he can have the right message, but he is the wrong messenger, because where he takes his message, he does not offer solutions to the problem. He just offers rage. You know what rage gets? Clicks, money. We offer solutions here. He doesn't. But keep in mind why, when the America First split continues to grow, that people are going to go to him and not to people like Sosnick.
So what are your values as a Jew then? All these Jews in Miami Beach, like I said, for them, prostitution, pornography, drug abuse, sexual assault, and sexual abuse, that's all fine. That's all fine. Pimps, players, all that stuff for them is fine. Hey, have a good time. Offend Jews, it's an incident. Well, you know, I don't want to live in that country anymore. I don't want to live in Jewish America anymore. I don't want to live in a country where those are our values. I think that we should have different values. I think that we should live in a Christian nation.
And there it is. I think we should live in a Christian nation, even though we are supposed to have a constitution that has the separation of church and state. Does this guy really think he's a Christian? I'm honestly, does he really think that? I'm still convinced, you know, it's kind of like Pelosi and Mitch McConnell. I just go behind the scenes and convince the people that we really hate each other. But in reality, we love each other very much.
Oh, yes, we do, Mitch. We love each other very much.
It's just a game. But all the while, people get raged up. And this is what happens. That's Fuentes in a nutshell. And unfortunately, because of what the Zionist movement, the Zionist Jewish movement in particular, has created in this moment, it's given way too much power and clout to somebody like him. Because if he gets the power, he's going to be dangerous, and he's going to wield it in a very provocative, egotistical, and violent way. You know, he was at January 6th on a bullhorn. He was never arrested. He told people to go into the Capitol. Nothing ever happened to him. You have to wonder what really did go down behind the scenes. What type of an agreement did he make so that he didn't get in trouble? What type of rhetoric and language does he have to push in order to get people riled up? And he does that all the time. But this is, again, a reminder of why is this the case? If we did not have the Zio scum control over our system, he would be rendered useless and irrelevant. He would have no part of this whatsoever. That's not what we're living through. We're living in a situation where things are starting to unfold going forward, and he still has relevance. I'm sure he was at Charlottesville. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. That's probably how he really got noticed in the first place.
I think that we should be more offended that young Gentile women are being trafficked by Jewish OnlyFans, because that's who runs it. Do you know, by the way, that OnlyFans was not a pornography site when it got started?
That's true.
OnlyFans was an alternative to Patreon. It was just another subscription website like Patreon, like any other one that you can think of. That is until it was acquired by a Russian Jew. And then he transformed OnlyFans into a business where Gentile women are trafficked for money. He turned it into a business where young women turn 18 and it is totally destigmatized. They start selling softcore and hardcore pornography of themselves. And by the way, those are our women. America is the biggest market for OnlyFans. American OnlyFans creators are making millions, maybe billions of dollars. Those are American girls. Those are American women that are being trafficked.
Last I checked, if you want to get on a camera like the one I'm on and take your clothes off or have sex on camera, for the most part, that is a choice. Now, you want to say that it's not the best behavior? And what is our women? Again, for somebody who probably has no real experience with women because he's such an online entity, I think he's projecting quite a bit. Quite a bit. But again, who is he preaching to? He's preaching to a lot of men that feel exactly like he does. And there are millions of them out there, guys. Millions. And you do not have to wonder why he's such a big deal.
American women that are given a platform and sold to young American men. Who do you think's buying it? To American men. Well, a rich and powerful Jew takes a cut off the top. Hey, Adam, you got a problem with that? Hey, cocksucker mayor of Miami Beach, Jew, you got a problem with that? Where's the statement on that?
When the mayor of Miami sends the Gestapo police to people's houses, asking them, why did you post this about Israel on Facebook? All you're doing is helping him. You help people like him. We went through something similar, but being able to discern between the stories and what is relevant and what is actually effectual discourse versus not. That's not what he wants. But he is right about the mayor of Miami. He is right about that. But this is, again, the whole thing about right message, wrong messenger, because we know what his intentions are. They're not good.
Miami is a city where young American women are trafficked, lose their innocence in the service of Satan, and equally young men lose their innocence buying this too. Where's the statement about that? Is the ADL going to protect them? Is the idiot mayor of Miami Beach going to protect them? No, they profit from it. They profit from it. They make money off of it. They encourage it. They are vampires. They suck our blood.
So now Jews are vampires. So you can understand why this is a problem and why, when so much of the Zionist movement hinges on the idea that you cannot separate Zionism from Judaism, that's where so much of this problem stems from, and why it's imperative that we deal with this at some point.